Talking Nerdcore, Talking Nerdcore today. We're talking Nerdcore, Talking Nerdcore our way. We're talking Nerdcore, Talking Nerdcore today. We're talking Nerdcore, Talking Nerdcore.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's the animeoveranalyst here, and on this episode of Talking Nerdcore, I'm going to be talking about Trinity 7 with my guest, Storms Cryomancer. You want to introduce yourself a little bit, Storms?
Yo, what's up, guys? Storms Cryomancer here, lover of all things anime and all things fun and good vibes.
All right. Is there anything you want to plug before we begin?
Yeah, just a YouTube channel, check me out. That's Storms Cryomancer, do reactions, do a podcast similar to this. Go check me out.
Yeah, so actually, how this whole collaboration kind of started was that Storms invited me on one of his podcast episodes, and he recommended Trinity 7 to me. And so I was like, all right, let's check it out. And at first it was going to be like, okay, maybe I'll do some reviews to it, because at the time I was doing a lot of Made in Abyss reviews. I haven't done any in a while. I want to get back to that, but I'll get there eventually. But I was like, you know what? Instead of maybe doing a Trinity 7 review, why don't I just do an entire episode of my podcast just dedicated to it, and we can just talk about it. So here we are, and we're going to talk about it. And for those of you who don't know about it, it's an ecchi, which means that every single chapter in the manga, there's some naked women. That's pretty much how it was kind of a running gag at some point. It was just like, okay, so who's going to be stripped this time?
Yeah, that is pretty much that show.
So, why don't you kind of take us into the show? Describe the show a little bit, manga. I read the manga, so go ahead.
So for the most part, I mean, it's a lot like anime said. It does have the ecchi format, but as far as storyline wise, it's about this guy named Arata Kasugi, who is at the first episode and first chapter, he's kind of stuck in like a fabricated world created by a grimoire, where this show revolves around like magic and alchemy and stuff like that. So he learns from another main character named Lilith that this world is fake, been fabricated by a grimoire that belonged to his cousin Hijiri, who he believed died. And so he joins this school and becomes a mage, and he's he wants to learn magic so he can actually save his cousin. And he learns later that he is like a demon lord candidate, because to create a whole fabricated world, he would have to be very powerful, very strong.
Yeah. And you said something about Demon King candidate, and the Demon King is pretty much the higher overarching dude who can pretty much either rule the world or destroy the world. And in the manga, at least, we've got several instances of different timeline Demon Kings showing up to kind of either oppose Arata or fight alongside of him. So It's really, really interesting. But before we get there, why don't you kind of describe the power system a little bit?
So basically what you do is when you get a grimoire, you'll have a subject or a field you'll be learning. So Lilith kind of has like gun morphing abilities. But there's also like different things that go into playing your power. So say you're like a really reserved person. In order to power up your magic, you would have to actually research stuff that's the opposite of who you are. Like Lilith, for example, is she plays the reserved character, but it's an ecchi, so she's kind of a freak. So like learning about that kind of stuff actually helps her power up. Then you have another character named Levi. That's honestly my favorite character.
I was gonna mention Levi. I love Levi.
Levi is my favorite because she's a ninja. She's just a badass character in general.
She is so badass.
Oh, like she is honestly probably the saving grace of that show, if I'm being honest, because the anime is nowhere near as good as most of the manga is. So basically you would actually learn that your subject, your field, and you got, I know those actual different books of what they're called. I just can't remember all of the chapter names for it, specifically for the grimoires and how
Yeah,
you go about learning.
they've got themas,
Yeah.
which is kind of like, so basically all magic in this world is kind of divided into 7 groups. It's the 7 deadly sins. You got
Yep.
Ava, Gula, Aced. I'm just going off of Kingdom Hearts because that's how I remember it.
Yeah.
You know, that all that stuff. And basically your deadly sin is the personality traits opposite to you. So going with the Lilith example, she is part of the the lust one. So she's not lustful. She's shy, which is interesting because her power is kind of lust based. Even though she shoots a cannon, she just shoots guns.
Well, to quote the Helsing Abridged series, bitches love cannons, you know.
Yes. Yes.
Cannons. But yeah, that's and you know, whichever field you're searching in and whichever sin you're given, you would have to research that, because whatever goes against your nature is going to help you power up in this world, basically. And Avatar, being a demon lord candidate, he actually has the ability to have multiple grimoires and learn from each other person's power, which he's able to actually copy Lilith's power.
Yes.
And he's used that several times, and he's
Arda's just broken as fuck,
bro,
honestly.
he's just intensely OP for no reason whatsoever. And yeah, I mean, like, even in one of the short films that I was telling you about before this, he gets a second grimoire in the manga, and in
he
in
gets
the
like
show as well.
3 or 4, honestly.
Yeah. And so in one of the movies, him and Lilith actually like, their magic kind of combines and creates another grimoire that's made from both of their magic. It's technically their child, and that's honestly that was a touching moment. And so using that power, he attains another power, which is the paladin form, which is like, yeah, that's like maybe a step below demon lord. And
you wanna kind of go kind of talk about the different classes as well, because we've got hero, we've got paladin, we've got demon lord, and they're all just different ways of kind of combating each other.
Yeah, so with the hero, that's obviously the first tier. That's what mages would ascend past, after, you know, kind of deciding their path or whatnot. Then you got paladin. So paladin, when it comes to magical terms and in most magical show, a paladin is like a revered mage, someone who's mastered their class or mastered magic. And in that show, that's kind of what paladin is, although it comes with it's more of like a power buff than it is anything in a form, than it is a title that you achieve. Whereas it's just like you learn a super OP magic.
Yeah.
And, you know, with Arato, when he did it, he actually got a armor set and
that was a
buttload of new
nice
spells.
armor set.
Oh
Love it.
yeah. And when he defeated that fabricated demon lord, which we can get into that in a moment as well, man, yeesh. And then when you get to the demon lord candidates, so demon lord candidates are obviously people who have enough magic potential to become the next demon lord. And so when you achieve that form,
Yes and no. I'm actually going to cut you off there. It
Go
seems
ahead.
to me, at least in the manga, that you've got to have some kind of like they kind of refer to it as like a stored energy type deal. You kind of have to have this inherited trait in order to be a Demon King candidate. So unless you are a direct descendant of the current Demon King, you're technically not supposed or can't become a Demon King candidate.
Yeah. Well, there's also I don't know how, because I haven't read a lot of the manga. I've mainly done the show.
Mm-hmm.
And what there's a fabricated demon lord as well, which is like a white demon lord who
Yes.
um who shows up and claims to be the actual demon lord and demon lord candidate. That Orator was a fake, and that's where Orator used the paladin form to
Mm-hmm.
beat him. And in Orator's case, I guess like there was a prophecy, not a prophecy, but it was prophesized throughout the events of the show and manga that if Orator learns how to use magic from the Trinity Seven, then he will destroy Earth and become the true demon lord.
Yes.
And you actually in one of the episodes in you actually see a glimpse of that. You see a glimpse of Orator reverting to the or converting into the demon lord and almost kills Lilith. Which was
Yeah,
I was like,
I think I actually remember that part of the arc.
yeah,
Honestly, for me, Lilith is such a useless character.
yeah,
Like
hands down.
like
She's just
she's so useless. She doesn't do much of anything except exist.
yeah. She's more of like she's more of like a backing character and a love interest for Orator because they
Except
have
he's
to
got
have
like a
that.
1,000 love interests.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I think one of my favorite characters is the blonde chick that carries like the magical orb.
Oh, that's
I just
Mira.
forget her name. Yeah,
Mira.
Mira.
I
Yo,
love
like
Mira. I was gonna mention Mira. So let's actually talk about that. So we got in the Trinity Seven. There are 7 mages, and they all happen to be female because it seems like Arda's the only dude in the entire anime,
yeah.
and so each of the mage, represents one of the 7 deadly sins, and so
Mhm.
we have Aaron, who looks exactly like Hijiri, Areta's cousin that
Mhm.
supposedly died early on. And so right off the bat, we're like, what's with this girl that looks exactly like Aaron, or looks exactly like Hijiri, but has no emotions whatsoever? Then we
Yeah.
have Lilith, that we mentioned earlier. Then
Mhm.
we have Levi, the ninja Levi, who is by far
The
amazing.
best
The
character.
best
The
character.
best, hands down.
Her character is, I have no expectations. And so she
Oh
just
yeah.
does whatever. I love it.
Yeah, she's just like, I'm here, now I'm not. And then badass as a combatant too. You got Mira,
Mm-hmm.
Akio, you got I forgot her name, but
We,
the chick from the photo chick.
that's Selena. Her sister is Lise.
Yeah.
And
And then the
yeah,
dream one, Yui
Yui.
or Yuki. Yeah.
It's Yui, and I love Yui. Honestly,
Yes.
of the Trinity Seven, I really like all of them except Lilith. To be
Yeah.
honest, I really like all of them.
She
Um,
really has no character development or really like I hate to say that I don't want to say she doesn't have a purpose in the squad, but she really has
she
no
really
purpose in
does.
the squad. She's the stalker of this show.
Yes, and like with all the other characters, they all have like these really cool fights and these really cool
Oh,
moments,
oh yeah.
and like we have Mira, who is very distrustful of Arata in the beginning.
Hmm.
Mira just wants to beat the shit out of
Oh
Arata,
yeah.
and
Because because her ability is to purify evil, and Orator
mm-hmm,
being the demon lord candidate is like most definitely a form of evil that she wants to dispel.
mm-hmm. Yeah, no, she's constantly going around kind of I guess tsundere-esque, going like I sense foul energy. She's kind of
Oh
the
yeah.
tsundere of the group. That and Lilith.
Yeah, definitely. Then you have Akio. Akio is another one of the good characters, especially when it comes to combat ability. Which
Mm-hmm.
it's weird to see her go full out because like her ability, she stores up her magic ability to keep her on the offensive, but
Mm-hmm.
when she uses her offensive ability, she reverts to a
A cheat.
child, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, is this your
Yeah.
real form? Like, what are
And
we?
like a sister outfit, sister
Yeah,
nun.
yeah, like
And yeah, I agree with you. Where it's like I really kind of love seeing Akio when she's not in that form.
mhm.
It's really weird that way.
Yeah, it's like, why are you a kid all of a sudden?
Magic.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I gathered. Like they literally said magic makes no sense, deal with it, I think in the manga.
Yeah. Yeah, episode 1, Naruto was asking if there was a shortcut to become a powerful mage, and when Lilith was like, "No, hard work and discipline," and Naruto was like, "You just said magic makes anything possible. What are you talking about? I can create a shortcut if I want to."
Yeah, and he does.
Oh yeah, it's now there are a lot of downsides to this anime too. It's filled with a lot of the usual tropes that you see, especially in ecchis and harems, where it's like, the main character does have a love interest, but he's also surrounded by like a bunch of women. So it's like, yeah, this is just gonna be bland like most other ecchis like this, and again, it doesn't really push the genre further. It doesn't do a lot for it, but it is a nice concept and a nice twist on most traditional magic shows, in the sense of that you have the biggest one, for example, Fairy Tale, where Fairy Tale has a lot of is trope heavy, very trope heavy, where I feel like
I
Trinity
love
Seven at
Fairy
least.
Tale though. That's one of my
It is.
favorite animes.
Yeah, dude, it is pretty good. It does have great storytelling. But what Trinity Seven diverts the magic to where Naruto kind of like steals the magic instead of relies on it. So it kind of pokes fun at the friendship, because Naruto's like, I'm just gonna copycat. I'm Kakashi.
Yeah.
What's up? he just steals it, makes it more powerful, and then uses it. I'm like, wow, that's a flex right there, man.
Yeah. Or he just negates all the like this dude literally starts doing everything at some point where I'm just kind of sitting there, like, okay, Arata can just do that apparently.
Yeah. He gets a lot of, he's broken, like you said earlier. He is madly broken.
So yeah, and one other thing is that when these mages when they start getting powerful, they start going into what's called Magus mode, which is kind of like this kind of combat heavy mode. And of course, Arata, being the guy that he is, can instantly get rid of Magus mode. Well, the problem with doing that is that it shreds all the clothing off of anyone near him, except Levi, because Levi's a ninja.
It happens with Paladin form too, and it's so funny. But yeah, no, Magus mode, like you said, it is pretty combat heavy. And Magus mode is another one that's kind of like, it's like Paladin mode, where it's not like a title you achieve, it's like a form you go into and you can utilize. But yeah, so Magus mode is definitely what would be a tier below Paladin. But seeing it in action is like, okay, yeah. This is OP. I'd be scared to go against it, especially if you're fighting, Demon Lord candidate.
Yes. And so I want to quickly talk about Lise, of course. Lise really fascinated at me at first. I was a little bit confused when they're like, she's evil, and so she was kinda evil-ish, but not really in the beginning. And then afterwards, it's like, it's the evil Lise, and I'm like, no, she's just hot and perverted.
Yeah, she's that's really it with her. I think because she did kind of like attempt to betray the Seven at some point during the story. I can't remember when, and that's why her sister kind of trapped her in the camera, which is again pretty weird, like being trapped inside a camera.
Well, what happened is that during the arc when she was first introduced, what she was trying to do was gain a hold of the Demon King candidate, that essence, that magic power that Arata had. And she tried it a little bit, and it like almost wrecked her. Like, that's how powerful this magic is. Well, Lise has the magic ability to slow down time to like infinitesimally small. It doesn't stop, it just slows down. And she used something called the Last Crest. It's like the ultimate of ultimate moves that a mage can do. When they use it, they have to pay some kind of price. And her price was being stuck in this dimension realm where she wouldn't be able to go on any further. And she literally did it all for the sake of knowledge. That's kind of what I gathered. She just wanted to learn, wanted to know what it was. And so she performed it. And then Arata managed to get out. And I think there was one other person with him, although it's really hard to tell because the grimoires also turn into girls.
Yeah, that was one thing that kind of, especially like the grimoire was taking on the form. I feel like in the case of design, the grimoire should match the yuzu, and I get that Arata, pervert, so of course his grimoires would be, chicks. So I was like, you could have done something different, or just left them books. They didn't have to have a physical form. You could have just left them as books with voices.
Yeah,
That would have worked as well.
Honestly, like when they were first introduced, I imagined the grimoires to be a male voice that was all-knowing, because that's kind of the vibe I got. And then it was actually like several chapters in, and suddenly this girl appears, and I'm like, wait, who is she, and why is she and Arata talking like they've known each other forever? So I went back a couple chapters, and there's a very subtle line in the manga that's like, oh, so this is your human form.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. But and going back to your point with Lise, she had some of the most interesting powers, and especially when you combine them with her sister Selena's, who could bind people with her camera. I'm like, oh,
honestly,
tag team work.
I thought Selena was also kind of useless.
She was, and she was if she was not being used in tandem with her sister. If they were not working
really
together.
Is. They're a unit. Although I think Lise pretty much handles herself.
Oh, she
pretty
does.
well.
She does, hands down. And
they're twins, right? If I remember correctly, yeah, they're twins.
Yeah. And then like going on to powers, Yui definitely probably one of the best, but also at the same time, if her power activates when she's asleep.
That she goes
that's
insane in the Dante's arc. That was great. The Dante's gate arc. So actually, talking with Yui, I'm curious on your thoughts, Storms. In her more adult form, did she remind you of a specific other character?
Been a minute since I've actually seen that form. I can't really say anything comes to mind when she grows up. Although I want to say, actually no, she doesn't really remind me of any of the other characters.
Okay. When I first saw her, and this she was first introduced in her adult teenage form. I thought it was Mira from Fairy Tail. I literally thought it looked like a 1-to-1 copy of Mira from Fairy Tail.
I'll definitely have to go back and relook at it now and then look at Mira. But yeah, no, so like Yui, and just them trying to get to Yui to wake her up. That was
a
battle
fun
in
arc.
and of itself. It really was.
Fun.
Because man, they had to go through the school. Ooh,
they went through the dungeon underneath the school, because of course there was a dungeon underneath the school. And let me tell you, this he's like the laziest one who doesn't do shit, and he's just always like he's just like smack talking, and like one of the other headmasters from the other schools is like, "Oh, you conniving person," and I'm sitting there like, or he's just not doing anything. Like he's watching his students get their shit kicked out of them, and he's just
they'll be fine. They'll be fine. I feel like that was kind of a joke. Like I feel like that character was kind of a joke and a prod at Gandalf throughout the Harry Potter series, because Gandalf did the exact same thing.
I mean, Gandalf was Lord of the Rings.
Not Gandalf. Damn.
Dumbledore,
yeah. Sorry, man. I've been watching Lord of the Rings lately.
Yeah.
Gandalf was Dumbledore. Yeah, Dumbledore.
Same actor, so I can't blame you there. Actually, no, it was Sauron.
No.
The guy who played Sauron played Dumbledore. Anyways, that's
a fun fact. I did not know that one.
Yeah, not cool. Sauron. The other mage, white mage in the first movie. that goes up against
Oh, Saruman.
Saruman.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've done Lord of the Rings, but that's a
No,
different topic.
it's all good, man.
Yeah.
I just confused Dumbledore for Gandalf, so it's good. It's equal on both sides.
Yeah. So back to Trinity Seven, a
Yeah.
far not superior, a far inferior,
Very, very
very
inferior.
inferior.
Have you gotten to the ancient weapons that Aurene and Hydri have?
So yes, I believe that. Well,
Ye-
Aryan and Hijri, they're part of Yggdrasil,
Mhm.
the Tree of Life. They're literally the same soul, just split in two.
Yeah, which is kind of weird considering Auron is supposed to be Arta's future wife. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, okay, okay. That's kind of
Yeah.
weird. But there was a fight, and I do believe it was with the fabricated demon lord, or actually before that, where they
Mm-hmm.
use these like weapons that are supposed to be like, they're like, since Auron is supposed to be the future wife of the demon lord, she
Yeah.
has a set of ancient weapons. I forgot what they're actually called, but oh, her and Hijri both have them, and
Mm-hmm.
they just dropped the whole opposition whenever they used them. I want to say Auron's was like a set of claws, but I can't remember exactly.
I remember them both
Mm.
having stabs.
Yeah. Let me actually go look real quick. Hold up.
So
I've
yeah.
got to. My brain is gonna mess with me until I
I
do.
totally. And I mean, speaking of weapons, the headmistress of the Legal Academy, I believe is what it was called. She's a paladin that wields like all these different weapons that are crazy. And at one point during the Dante's Gate arc, um, Mira is like, I need to become a hero class. I need to go and find a way to be able to defeat demon lords. And so she gets trained to become a hero class. And it's real interesting. She can do it because when she dies, she just comes right back to life. She has this kind of revival thing. And so the headmistress went and literally killed Mira like thousands of times with these epic weapons,
Mm-hmm.
so that it got to the point whenever Mira dies, she comes back to life instantly. And I was like, damn. Anyway.
Yeah. No. Like I do remember that, and oh yeah.
Yeah.
No. It was painful to see that. And because so some of these weapons they have a significance towards either fighting for or fighting
Mm-hmm.
against the demon lord. And I went and looked up Orange, and unless it was just her magus weapon, it looks like a glaive or a spear.
Yeah.
I had to go.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say I remember it being very spear javelin like. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it was, and like so. I believe before the first season ended, she actually used it uh to fight that in dang, I forgot who invaded because it was when Hijri came back, or right after Hijri came back,
So
and they were a breakdown phenomena happened
yeah.
at the school.
Well,
I still
Hijri
remember.
came back as a villain.
Yes, yes,
And
she was bad.
they immediately tried painting her as a villain, and that's when we first meet Rogue as well. I don't care what the manga translates her. The manga has it as Lugh, like Lugh. I'm like, no, she's Rogue in my mind. That makes thematic sense to me.
Yeah.
And it's real interesting because after they kind of fight it out a little bit, they do this tournament arc, which Arda gets his ass kicked in the first seed.
Ooh. See, I've been again. My experience with it has been primarily anime heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the manga I have not gotten to yet. So I will have to get to that eventually. I just haven't had time to really pick anything up.
Okay, so does the anime not have that training arc? Because that was pretty early on.
It
That
does
tournament?
have it does not have the tournament. So after the first season kind of just ends with just Lilith and Orator basically going on a date. And then the first movie kicks off.
Really? It's that
Yeah.
early?
The first movie kind of kicks off after like when Orator was kind of like in that hospital bed at the end,
Mm-hmm.
and it kicks off the events with that leading into the fight with that fabricated demon lord. And then the second movie actually involves, I think, Lilith or one of the seven getting kidnapped, and they have to kind of go save them.
So yeah, I don't think that's in the manga. I know that there's an arc where Akio goes to her hometown, and that's where we
Hmm.
meet one of the fabricated demon
Yeah,
lords. And then
that I do believe is in the second movie because I do remember it being centered around Akio for
mhm.
a good portion of it.
Okay, okay. So I'm understanding. So you probably haven't even seen or remembered the Dante's Gate arc that I'm referring to.
No, that I've seen glimpses of in certain manga panels. Because I
Mhm.
follow a lot of things on Instagram that give out like manga spoilers or
Yeah.
manga headers or glimpses. So that I've seen certain portions of, and not all of it, but I've seen some of the panels from it.
Okay, okay, because that arc is insane. And honestly, I thought the manga would just end there. It
Hmm.
didn't. And admittedly, I haven't finished it, but I'm like 26 chapters left. And
Hmm.
but that arc it was pretty decent.
Hmm.
Basically it's just summoning the true Demon King, like the actual current Demon King.
Yeah.
And Arda has to go up against him, and of course, you got the Trinity Seven with him. It's real interesting. Yui goes insane. Have you seen some of the panels that Yui?
Not the ones with Yui in them. I've seen the ones like what you were talking about with what happened with Mira.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen those mostly, and then I can't remember the other ones. But I do not recall seeing any of the ones with the Yui though.
So, in here there are 12 generals in Dante's Gate that are subordinates to him. There, Arda like struggled against one. Yui took out two within 2 seconds. She went full on yandere mode because apparently in this realm she's part of the Gula class. Gula magic is insanely strong here, very dream based, and she impales two of the demon lords immediately right off the bat, and Mira is standing there, blood's covering her, and she's just like, I'm scared, I'm
Oh,
terrified.
holy crap! Oh,
Yes.
I need to go read this now.
Yeah, I
Ooh.
recommend this arc because Yui is fantastic. She does some insane stuff with
Hmm.
this dream magic. Have you seen Black Clover?
Oh, I love Black Clover.
She's very much reminiscent of the Coral Peacock. Um, I can't
Oh
remember.
yeah, I
Dorothy.
know exactly you're talking about.
Dorothy.
Ooh.
She's got similar powers and she does some similar things to some bosses as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think I like Black Clover's version a little bit better, but
Oh yeah.
I think Yui's take is also really interesting. She does this Inception deal where she has dreams inside of dreams and really messes with people.
Yeah, you see a little bit of that early on too. It's like, man,
Mm-hmm.
Yui though, nah,
She's OP.
threat,
She's
threat.
for all the audience members that's listening to this, let me describe Yui for you. Yui is someone that everyone in the Trinity Seven pretty much forced her to try to stay asleep throughout the entire castle because when she wakes up, she literally destroys everything. Like she is that OP. Like everyone, like when things start happening, that's like, oh shit, she's waking up. Like we got to have her asleep, and so Arda has to go and save her pretty much in the dungeons, and that we were referring to that earlier in the episode.
Yep.
And how he does it is he literally goes inside her dream, talks to her in her what I like to call as fairy tale Mira form because she looks exactly like her in my opinion, and
Yeah.
basically manages to create a way for her to step out and literally just become alive again and walk the earth again without destroying everything. So that's a really cool moment. And really that's I find fascinating with Arda a little bit. I mean, it's shown in protagonistic-esque, but he finds
Right.
ways to save people, and his kind of main quote is like, I take the third option. You give me two options, I do the third.
There's always a third option in all his eyes. But since I know I didn't recommend this to you, so I've got to know what is like so far your overall opinion on the manga.
The manga, so story-wise, I think it's about a 6 out of 10. 5 out of 10. Like,
Mhm.
it's not that good story wise. It does ecchi extremely well. So if you're in there and you're like, I just kind of want some softcore hentai, like, this is the manga for you.
That's the show for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's enough story to make it not hentai.
Yeah. I feel like the show kind of dials like again, this is normally the issue with adaptations. It dials it down a lot and kind of waters it down. And especially with the show, the anime version of this, it kind of focuses on the animation way more than it does the story, which is honestly a little irritating, but still definitely worth the watch. It does really only cover the first major arc and then the two movies, which kind of mad they just don't drop more seasons because again over 100 chapters you definitely have content
Yeah, you've got
for
enough
the
content
show.
now. And that literally that last arc that I was talking about, the Dante's Gate arc, can literally take up an entire season.
Yeah,
Like, it's huge. It's
and
about 50 chapters.
it would be great.
And yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth it. And I do appreciate the fact that each chapter is 40 pages long. A lot of manga I read is like 15 pages, and like I'm cool with that, but I can read that instantly, and I don't.
Yeah,
I don't feel like I get the story.
right. That's not enough pages
Yeah.
to cover anything like at all. But yeah, no, so like man, I'm gonna get clowned in the comments because like I've recommended this to you and you already know so much more than me, which again not a bad thing. I have not really picked up the manga for this. I've stayed on the show, which
That's
my fault.
fair. I haven't
Yeah,
seen anything of the show, so you could still definitely enlighten me there.
Well, I mean, for the most, because the show doesn't handle a lot of the story. Again, the first season kind of just covers the first main arc, and then there's two short films which quickly cover some more bases from the story. But besides that, yeah, I mean, it's still again, and going back to your overall opinion, where you rank the story, yeah, I agree with you about a 6 out of 10. Because again, it doesn't really do anything to push the genre a little forward. It's not doing what like what Black Clover was doing, which again Black Clover had its own faults, but
At least
it
Black
kind of
Clover basically took the shonen mold, said, "Okay, I like it. I'm gonna tweak things here and there."
yeah, which I feel like Black Clover came into its own later down the road,
Oh
what lost
yeah.
its connections to Naruto and Fairy Tail
Oh
when it
yeah.
kind of just became its own thing. Well, Trinity Seven did doing its own thing good, but it didn't do anything all that special. Especially the show. I have to get further in the manga and see if I can reevaluate my opinion. But where the show stands, it's like it's a fun watch. Definitely a interesting show, interesting concept. Power systems, definitely something new as well. But whew, it's just got to up the story some more.
Yeah, my biggest issue as well when it comes to at least the fights in the manga, I don't know about the
Hmm.
anime, they're over too quickly in the manga. They're very much a one-shot kill. And it's like whoever
It's
can get their biggest form out first and is the most deadly
yeah.
is like, eh.
It's kind of similar in the show, but they're drawn out a little bit more just to get the extra content and the padded runtime.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Well, I
So,
mean, Aruto
yeah.
is one-shotting most things, but there's this like grade 4 dragon in when the school gets invaded,
Mm-hmm.
and that fight takes a good minute. It takes Akio, Levi, Mira, and like one other person to actually take it down. I'm like,
I think
okay,
was
then
Rogue
that's
in that
I
fight?
believe she was.
Yeah, I think so. That Levi versus Rogue fight in the very beginning was real interesting too.
Hmm.
Rogue has
Oh,
kind of been one of those characters that's like I feel like she's supposed to be like super minor, but I can't not help but find some kind of attraction to her a little bit.
yeah, it does do that pretty cool too. Where you get invested in the side characters as well. Like there's the ones that you definitely feel important.
Mm-hmm.
And Lou uh and on like a great rival for Levy, even though Levy is best. Like
Yes.
Rogue was again like that fight was interesting. It was dope, and it's one of the better fights of the show itself. Like not just from a manga standpoint, because the
Mm-hmm.
manga kills it, but seeing
Yeah.
it animated, oh man, it's a different feeling entirely.
I've got to check that out. Then I'm actually literally thinking of checking out the anime after I finish reading it because just to see the differences as
Hmm.
well. Like if nothing else, to see it and laugh at it, make fun of it.
Yeah, you're going to. You're going to.
Yeah.
Trust me. You're going to. Again, like I was telling you, I was
Mm-hmm.
rewatching the show to try to remember some of the story because it's been about like 2 years since I've actually sat down and watched it. So I was watching it today at work, and I was like, okay, cool. I remember some
Mm-hmm.
of this. I remember some of this. This is nice, but I didn't get very far.
No, I,
Episode like 3 or 4.
that's understandable,
Um,
man.
yeah, but no, dude, it was great. Like
Yeah.
it, great watch.
What do you think of like Arda's character as the main protagonist?
Protagonist wise, I mean, I feel like this was an option he didn't necessarily want. It's not a role he wanted, but
Mm-hmm.
it was either die or forget everything. So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go with the third option. And learning that Hijiri was still alive was kind of the only motivator for him. So I feel like given any other
Mm-hmm.
choices, then he would have probably chose something else.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting because he's like the very stereotypical shonen that
Hmm.
manages to convince all the bad guys to join his side. And like that
Yeah.
even happens in the Dante arc as well, where like a lot of the bad guys are either tricked into joining him or they fall in love with him or
Right.
because everyone falls in love with Arda. He's the only dude in the entire school practically. I mean, they show a couple
Yeah.
minor characters, but
Yeah.
no one
That
of
that
relevance.
yeah, that yeah, that's a heavy theme, a heavy focus for it. And but yeah, he's interesting. He's definitely an interesting protagonist. It's interesting seeing that he can actually learn their other
Mhm.
fields of magic, which is considered like next to impossible in this world. And he's just over here like, okay, 1 hour with you, 1 hour with you, 1 hour with you. I know all your magic. What's up?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
he can seemingly learn anything.
Well,
He's again,
yeah.
he's broken. He's
Yeah.
broken. So there's really no limits to what he can do, and that's definitely an interesting possibility. But from a personality standpoint, he's definitely just the typical selfish character.
Mhm.
He's really only he does develop a lot You see it throughout the show too. He does develop a lot, but yeah,
I don't
he's
know.
pretty
I don't
base.
know. He's pretty much the same throughout, as in
Mhm.
he's perverted but doesn't know what sex is. It's actually kind of hilarious in the manga.
They,
And
they they seem to give him more personality later on in the show and the movies.
yeah,
Was
he has a little bit more. Once again, he has some really cool moments in the Dante's Gate arc. So definitely recommend you to read that one because it's very good. I haven't gotten any further than that. Definitely recommends that tournament arc
ooh,
because
okay.
uh he gets a girlfriend, an actual girlfriend that's none of the Trinity Seven. It's just some other girl, and so I mean, you know that things are gonna go wonky there, of
Man,
course.
I was a big Orlith shipper. Yeah, Orator and Lilith. I was a huge Orlith shipper. I can't. Man,
I
that's kind of disparaging.
I didn't care about Lilith at all. Like that ship. I was more with Arth and Aaron.
Oh, Orator and Orin. Okay, okay.
Arata
Um,
and yeah.
I would have given if Lilith wasn't in the show. I think I would have given Orator and Levy definitely.
Levy's the one character I didn't ship Arda with. I was like, Miara, I could see. Yui was always just kind of there, so I wasn't sure. Arin was just forcefully forcing herself to be his wife, which I thought was kind of adorable.
Yeah,
Like, there's the one episode where she's trying to learn what it is to kind of date. Like, she has no idea how to date or anything.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
She's definitely the Sai of the show. So
Yes.
I tie most people back to
To
Naruto
Naruto.
characters. My
Yeah.
bad.
No,
It's
no,
my
no.
it's,
It makes a lot of sense.
it's like
Except for Sai, she remains relevant.
y- yeah. Sai's relegated. Sai's been and Boruto Sai has such a small role, even though he's the head of the Anbu now. It's like you basically as important as they were in Part One and Shippuden. You're not doing anything anymore, man.
Yeah.
Wow,
So,
look at it. We have gone off about other animes several times talking about.
well, I mean, that's kind of how this show is Trinity Seven. It just takes a
Yeah,
lot of inspiration from other
from
anime,
other stuff.
and
Yeah,
it tries to
it's
make its own
noticeable.
stuff. It does and it does not.
Hmm.
I like I said, I think the story could be a lot better. I think my another huge issue I have, and it's something that Fairy Tail and a lot of shonen do a lot, is they don't foreshadow anything except for like One Piece. One Piece is great at foreshadowing. But there will be times when like there's a fight and then someone's like, "Oh no, you just pulled out the god sword of whatnot, and this is the sword that has been known to kill thousands of armies." And I'm sitting there like, I wish this was kind of foreshadowed earlier or something like
Right.
that. Like
It
there's
is.
so many possibilities. There's apparently this huge demon war that has happened. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Apparently there are 7 kings that have fought against the demon king already. And
Wow.
that's not mentioned at all until Dante's Gate arc. And I'm like, that's such a great part that could really, really have foreshadowed a lot of things. But I feel like it was just one of those things that there's a lot of, oh, I just kind of thought of it right up in the moment of writing it. It's like, oh, this would be cool.
Yeah.
Like, eh.
Yeah. It's like it was added after everything was written. Like editor, minor detail change right here, right here, right here,
Yep,
right here,
yep,
right here.
yep.
They got the Star Wars treatment. It was made in the editing room.
Pretty much. Oh, so true. So that's one of my biggest gripes, and it does that a lot with at least combat wise. And so I wish that it did foreshadowing a lot more because I think that would have upped the story a lot.
Yeah.
That has a lot of lot of potential. I do like what happened in the tournament arc where Hijiri teams up with Aaron and
Hmm.
they go and go crazy. There's like they get kind of stuck in this like ever never ending world and trying to do something. It's real interesting. Yeah.
Ooh, I definitely got to go read the manga. I got to, man. I
Yes.
got to.
So, in the movie or anime version, did they show that Lilith was a Demon King candidate?
No, actually, I don't think it alluded to that.
Yes. Okay. So in the arc where Akio kind of goes into her backstory a little bit, and they go into like this weird castle in the sky, fight a Demon King candidate. That
Mm-hmm.
Demon King candidate came from a different timeline
I
where
remember that, but I don't think that movie showed Lilith being a demon king. But I do remember I remember the castle in the sky and
Mhm.
that demon king coming from a different timeline. But I don't remember it being Lilith.
Yeah, apparently that was his daughter. Lilith is his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes back during the tournament arc. So, in a hilarious way. He is so funny in the tournament arc.
Bet.
He let's say he turns into a Guild Arts type character from Fairy Tale.
Okay, bet.
So, yeah. That he's a fun, interesting character, and then later on they go and they meet another version of the Demon King, and that goes into more of which backstory was that? No, I don't think it was a different. No, I think it was Mira's backstory. They try to delve into Mira a little bit more in that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was real interesting. He gets another grimoire there.
Another one.
Yeah. See now. So he gets Radix, Sora, and there's like one more I'm blanking off the top of my head. Like, whoa! It gets to the point where all the grimoires kind of look the same. They literally are like the same character, but literally in the Dante's Gate arc, we have 8 versions of the same grimoire, and they're all called 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not
That is hysterical. Thing 1, thing 2, thing 3, thing 4.
pretty much.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, the manga sounds way more interesting than the show actually. Which again is normally how
Normal.
that transition works. Is
Mm-hmm.
the manga, the source material is always better than the adaptation in almost every
Yeah.
case out there. Which I really got to get to the manga now. I really do. Ooh.
Yeah, definitely recommend it because it's at least a fun thing to kind of just chill out and relax. Like it's not gonna blow your mind at all.
Yeah, no.
It's a very very simple storyline, so that's why I give it a 6. It's solid enough to like not really have very many ways in the plot hole department. It just has more ass pulls than anything. And
Mhm.
at some point you're like, I accept it. It's an ass pull. And
Yeah.
it actually honestly got to the point sometimes where I'm like, okay, I give up trying to learn all these different modes, all these different things. Like I accept it as magic. That's what I told the otaku couple on my
Mhm.
Jujutsu Kaisen when I was watching it, where I was like, okay, curses, I don't really understand it. Oh wait, it's just BS anime powers. I'm
Okay.
done.
Yeah,
I'm good.
there's synergy. Boom, there you go. The other things that kind of like the other things that really fascinate me about the show, and the things that seem to have a lot explained about them, but not a lot explained about them at the same time, are the breakdown phenomenons.
Yes. And that honestly really doesn't get explained as well in the manga. It's weird because Arda can create them.
Mm-hmm.
And actually I think anyone really can. It's
It's
really
it's
weird.
it really just like, so you can have minor breakdown phenomena that don't
Mhm.
affect much, I believe, and then you have the scale that Naruto went to, were a whole new like
Yeah.
reality kind of got created that he was living inside of, and you kind of have to have like like a huge amount of physical, like magical ability to do that. I don't know why I said physical, but magical ability to do that. And then when the school was invaded, like that was encased in a barrier. That was a breakdown
Yes.
phenomenon that completely cut it off from the world. And whew. So breakdown phenomena are definitely one of the more interesting aspects of the show and how they're created, pulled off.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see I almost say Yuito for a second. Wow, that's not even a character in the show. Arata is Arata. When you see him kind of convert into his demon king form the first time,
Yes.
they were at another place that was also trapped inside of a breakdown phenomena as well. It's like, yo, what are these things? Explain. Like, I know it's like a distortion made with magic, but at the same time, it doesn't explain what type of magic creates them, how they're created, or what happens with them. Like, what?
Yeah.
Only
It's,
thing.
it's
Only,
just the black
only-
sun.
yeah, that's it. You just got Black Sun. There you go.
Yeah, in the tournament arc, you have 3 going on at once. It's
Wow.
it is yeah, it's crazy in that tournament arc. So
That is
yeah, yeah.
dude. I've definitely got. Oh my god, I gotta read the manga. I'm
I
excited.
will say I was really confused at first because like I didn't know that he was part of a different he was part of a dimension. I literally thought he was just living his average life and then it all went to hell at once. And it really does, it still kind of bothers me how they went about it. It was really weird. Like Lilith shows up and goes, "This world." No, I don't even think she says this world is fake. It was,
she tells him to wake up.
yeah.
Like, Arata Kasagi, wake up. What's even weirder, and the thing that also kind of confuses me with breakdown phenomenons is Hijiri died. That first thing showed them dying from another breakdown phenomenon, and then he creates another breakdown phenomenon. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very weird. But once again, I just kind of went like, okay, BS anime powers.
It's okay. Anime logic. We got this.
Move on. Like
Yeah.
that's one of those things where like I generally accept it.
Yeah. At that point, you just have to overlook it. Like, okay, this is not gonna get explained, so it's cool.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Let's see. There was because I know we didn't touch base on. There was another character I don't think we touched base on when it came to the 7. So we talked Mira, Akio, Lilith, Levi, Lise, Yui, Oren's powers, man. Like,
yeah, that's true.
again, it goes to like the relic powers that her and Hijiri have.
Yeah.
Which also give them like a huge amp because they're like Demon King based weapons. And I really wish I could remember if hers was the glaive or if that was just her Magus.
She
weapon.
has like a staff glaive that
Yeah.
she uses, which is pretty awesome. She doesn't really use it though in the manga.
No.
At all. It just looks cool.
Yeah.
During that Akio backstory arc, though, Arata gets a really cool weapon named Judica.
Yes. Oh, I remember that weapon. I remember Judica.
Judica is fantastic, and of course, Judica also has a female form.
Yeah. That was also in the second movie. I really think the only thing I don't remember from the second movie was Lilith being a demon lord candidate at all.
Yeah,
I
she's
might
a
have to go
candidate.
back and rewatch it just to go check that out because I know the So far, it sounds like the movies are sticking more faithful to the source material than the show itself is. But like, man, it's yeah,
Yeah.
no, Judeka was a OP weapon.
Yeah, that's really cool, and I like how he was able to obtain it, overcoming
Hmm.
the original or that Demon King. Just real interesting, and then seeing everybody's powering up later on in the manga, how they all obtain the final crest, and all these combo attacks. Like Arata is able to perform like three groups at once, which is real
Hmm.
interesting. Like he was able to do Akio's. Oh, what was the
Ooh.
three? Akio's, Lilith's, and I think his own Superbia at once.
Ooh.
And that Akio backstory part in the manga
Mhm.
when he has or obtains Judica. He does what's called a Trinity, like a little Trinity, and
Huh.
yeah, he obtains he uses three different classes at once, besides his own
Ooh.
Superbia one. Yeah,
Yeah, man. I'm his own Superbia class though. I really love that revolver he has.
yeah.
Oh, that gun is just so beautiful.
I do love Lilith's gun,
Oh yeah, her
her
cannon.
sniper rifle.
Yes,
Hmm.
I think it's modeled after a like a 50 BMG because that with the muzzle brake that it has on it, it definitely looks
Hmm.
like a 50 cal rifle.
Yeah,
That's but weapons. The weapons are like the most one of the other interesting parts to me because like Akio uses like oh not a she's intense with her kicks and whatnot, but I know
yeah,
she can like make a spherical shape and use that as a weapon. It's like yeah, if she played soccer.
yeah. She she obtains a very interesting weapon in the Dante's Gate arc. She obtains like this weird whip.
Hey then, I'm
Yeah.
immensely more terrified of Akio now, just
Yes,
knowing
just
that.
knowing that she has a whip.
Like she can already whip me without one, so nope, don't give me that.
I
Don't give me
love
that
her
at all.
confidence. Like it's real interesting some of the characters and their confidence. The reason why I love Levy is her confidence as well because Mira, she tries to portray herself as confident, but then
No,
whenever
she's
Arda
not.
does something stupidly perverted, she gets into her tsundere mode, and
Yep.
Akio is just like whatever.
Yeah, she's just chill. She's chill. You know, I think that's a sign because she's also like the oldest of that group
Yeah.
too, which is weird
Eh,
considering when she powers down, she's a kid. But like,
lolly
yeah, but
form.
like,
We're gonna go.
yeah, yeah, that's her lolly. But she's probably just the most mature and just knows it's just a guy be
Mhm.
an anime guy being an anime guy.
Pretty
You know,
much. The
I really,
manga does refer it as like it is. It does break the fourth wall a lot.
oh man, because the show hasn't I haven't noticed fourth wall breaks in the show, so
Yeah, early versions do break it, where he's like, "Oh, this feels like I'm in a battle shonen."
oh, I didn't do that in the show. That's terrible, man. I
Yeah.
remember like I think it was Jujutsu Kaisen that had that fourth wall break where in like episode
Yes.
2, what's his name?
Yuji or no. I think it was Gojo. Gojo.
Gojo?
Yeah, I think Gojo
Well,
was explaining something.
yeah, and
And
then the kid
Yuji's
was
like, "Oh,
like,
can I do a power ball?"
can
And
I do over a Sengon and a Kamehameha? Like,
yeah.
I love this. This is a cheeky fourth wall break. It's very noticeable. Like they were not trying to be subtle about it at all.
Mhm.
And then when he was going to the I think it was either Jujutsu Kaisen or JoJo's. Well, I want to say it was Jujutsu Kaisen where he actually goes to the school. He's like, I could be home reading my Shonen Jump manga right now. I was like,
Yep.
okay. The crossovers, I love it. I love it.
Gintama does fourth wall
Oh my
breaks the
god,
best.
Gintama is amazing. Oh my
So okay, I side note, guys. I'm 150 episodes into Gintama, and I love it so much.
It is.
I love
It is so chaotic and it's amazing. I love that show so
I'm
much.
gonna have to have you back on for Gintama when
Oh, definitely.
I don't know. I'm wanting to finish it first before I talk about it, but it's also super long, and there's already enough to talk about as it is.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
Bro, Gintama is so funny though. So funny.
It's so good. It's so good. Anyways, I think this will be it for this podcast episode. Anything you want to plug once more?
Yeah, just channel Storms Cryomancer reactions. I do a podcast similar to this called Reactor Talks, where we get some reactor friends on and we just talk, ask some questions,
All right. So yeah, that's the end of this episode. I'm the animeoveranalyst, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Talking nerdcore today. We're talking nerdcore.